Hey, and welcome to the Go the Distance podcast series. My name is Sadie, and you can find my social media links at milehighradio.com/go-the-distance. Thank you to Lynn Burnett and Mile High Radio for making all of this possible. Please check out my previous episodes on shows.pippa.io/go-the-distance. And if you have questions or comments, you can find my social media links at milehighradio.com/go-the-distance, where I have a Facebook group that you can comment and participate in the podcast that way. If anyone is interested in being a part of my show, please let me know. Again, my links are on my milehighradio.com page. And today's episode is about being yourself and letting go of the judgments passed on you. Being yourself can be difficult when you don't fit into the norm, and having supportive people in your life is important. No matter who you want to be, you will have to stand up for yourself and be confident in your decisions. It's important to make choices that reflect who you are. Being who you are is important for your mental and emotional well-being. Working on yourself takes time, and sometimes to be who you want to be takes work and dedication, and it's worth it. Once I found myself feeling truly more like myself, I felt a shift in my thinking and was feeling better, able to be positive and to stay focused on what I want to do and what I need to do. Working towards my goals is something that I do daily or weekly, depending. And I usually work on a few different goals at a time, so it varies kind of how often I work on each goal depending on how many other things I'm working on around the same time. I express myself through hobbies and interests, and in a way that shapes our identity, and it shows others who you are. And when you choose to express yourself through hobbies and interests, you're sort of giving people a way to see who you are and to see the type of person that you are. And the choices that we make define us as much as the words that we say. The way we choose to express ourselves impacts others, and it's important to be aware of this influence that we have. We are all individuals, and we are all capable of expressing ourselves in many different ways, but it's important to choose the way that's right for you and that's right for the people you're expressing yourself to. If you're aware that somebody is more sensitive to certain behaviors or certain comments or certain things, it's important to be mindful of that and to be aware that the way that you express yourself could have a negative or positive influence on them. And for myself, I always like to choose to be a positive influence because we all have enough negativity in our life and we don't need more. There's that saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. And the truth of it is, words can hurt. That's a good saying to teach us to be strong against the words of other people, but at the end of the day, the words of the people you trust and you love can really hurt you if they're hurtful and if they're mean. People are naturally curious about the world around them, and children learn so much from exploring new objects, materials, and environments. Each new experience is able to build a new neural pathway, especially in children. With each new experience and the repeated experiences, the brain becomes stronger and more developed. By choosing to allow yourself to indulge in your curiosity and to expose yourself to new things and experiences, you're allowing yourself to grow as a person You may find out you don't like something that you try, but hey, that's all right. Now you know. Before you tried it, you wouldn't have been able to give an answer whether you enjoyed that or not. And now you know it's something that you don't enjoy. Or maybe you might find something that you really love that you never considered before. Part of being who you are takes exploration and curiosity and trying new things to really find out, hey, is this really me, or is this just something that I've always done because someone said I should, or because that's what my family does? It's okay to break those norms and to go off and be your own person. But it's really important to have, like I said, to have those supports and to have people who care about you and people who want to see you be successful, regardless of what you want to do, so long as it's positive. Being yourself takes work and dedication because so many others have plans that include you, but may arrive at a different destination than what you want to be at. So if you follow someone else's path, you may enjoy the travel, but you might miss out on where you want to go with your life. There are so many different walks of life, and when we take time to see the good in everything, we can hold on for what matters in the end. If you've always kind of just done what other people expect of you, and something just doesn't sit right with you, maybe it's time to make that choice to step towards your own destination and your own plans and your own path that you have for yourself. And one really important thing is, when you do have a plan for yourself, is to write it down and to reread it whenever you feel like you're kind of needing that motivation or needing to get back in line with who you think you should be and who you want to be. And make sure that you're not allowing other people to kind of guide you away from the direction you want to go in. Because as much as those other people's plans might be great and wonderful, if it's not quite right for you, then you always have that sort of internal struggle and that question about, is this the right thing for me? Being yourself is important for your mental health. It feels good to be yourself. And I know for me, I feel much, much better when I feel comfortable enough to be myself. It feels freeing to be myself and to be accepted by others. When I feel judged by others, I feel uncomfortable and less able to be myself. I tend to shut down and become withdrawn. If somebody is judging me harshly for the choices that I'm making or for the way I want to be, it's kind of hard to continue to do those things because the pressure of the judgment sort of weighs down on you. And there are times when having someone judge me is a good thing because I'm not making good choices. But there's been times in my life where having people judge me has been a negative thing, because the reason they're judging me is simply because they have a different plan for me, and the choices I'm making are a part of a different plan. And so the judgment feels harsh because that person no longer is a part of, that kind of plan or whatever they have for you. And you're trying to show them that you want to make a different path for yourself. So that's why it's so important to just find people who will support you for who you are, and to stay strong and keep stepping in that direction. Even if you feel it's difficult or too hard, then just look for your strength and look for your motivation and keep going. Sometimes you might feel alone, but we're never alone. There's always a way to kind of get through things if you just keep trying different ways. Integrity is such an important part of being yourself. Integrity means doing what's right even when no one is watching. It's important to honor yourself and others when you are alone as much as it is when you are around others. Being who you want to be can be challenging when the views you have or opinions that you have are different from the people around you. So I'm just gonna make up a little example about this. Say you wanted to pursue a career in, what was that video I just watched? In television, and somebody told you, oh no, you're gonna go be a doctor, or you're gonna go be a lawyer. Well, that can be really difficult, especially as a young person trying to figure out who you are and what you want to do when someone's always telling you who you are and what you should do. And the video I watched, the guy ended up, the person who told him that he'd never be on TV, he ended up sending them a TV for Christmas every year just because he knew he was going to be successful in that, and they doubted him, and they didn't allow him to feel that that desire for his own choice, and they decided to be negative. And I just think it's so important to be aware of yourself and be aware of who you are and who you want to be, despite other people's opinions. And it's good to take other people's opinions into consideration, but it doesn't mean that they have to define you. This is why it's important to be honest and true to yourself and to value others' rights to be themselves as well. When you're honest and true to yourself, when you choose not to accept the lies that you've been led to believe or that others want you to believe, it takes courage and it takes strength. And that's why when you see someone able to do that, it's important to support them, because it's hard and it takes a lot of effort and a lot of mental capacity to be able to do that and to say, you know what, I appreciate that you have this plan for my life, but this is what I want to do and this is who I want to be, and it's my choice, not yours. And it's really easy to recognize those things in other people when it's something that you've already been through. So when you see that in other people, it's really important to allow them to have those rights as well, and to allow people to be themselves and to make those choices for themselves instead of for somebody else. Different people have different ways of doing things and different ideas, but it doesn't make them better or worse than others. We need to accept each other for who we are when we meet. If you're not interested in continuing the connection with that person, choose to walk away and keep distance from those people in your life if it bothers you. Rather than make things difficult for another person, just surround yourself with people who support the same things as you do. We live in such a judgmental world, and it's so easy to kind of cast our own opinions upon other people and expect them to realize we're right. But what we forget is that that person is their own person, and we're not inside them. We don't know what they've been through. We don't know the walk that they've been on. And even if it's somebody who's really close to you, you might think you know everything about them, and you might think that you know what's best for them. But the only person who really knows what's best for them is themselves and God. And when we get so caught up on these judgments and these opinions we hold of other people, it's so easy to hurt people And it's so easy to blind ourselves to the point that we don't even see the hurt that we're causing. And we can sort of end up projecting that blame into, oh, well, this isn't working out because it's not meant to be, and you should be just following the path I suggested in the first place. Well, maybe in fact it's that negativity that you've created that's causing that person to be down or not successful. And if we just be supportive, we can see how people grow around us, as opposed to always breaking people down. We need to be lifting people up and encouraging people to take risks and to be themselves and to express themselves for who they are. Some people's walks in life have not been easy, and so when somebody chooses to take a big step into something different, into something new, and then they feel discouraged by their friends and family because it's not what was expected, that can be really heartbreaking, and that could be almost even traumatizing, because it takes, like I said, a lot of effort to put yourself out there and to do something that's outside of your typical self. And it's just so important to have those people who surround you with support and with love and encouragement, no matter what. Even if it's a failure, even if you're not successful in your first attempt at whatever it is that you're trying out. Success and failure are parts of life that sometimes we're successful and sometimes we're not. And if you're not successful, instead of allowing the failure to bring you down, let it be a lesson to help you to move forward and to keep going and try it in a different way. Because there's a saying that's the definition of stupidity is trying the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. When the reality is we have to try it in a different way if we want a different result. And you might have to try it in a few different ways to get to the result that you want, because there's so many different ways to do things and so many different ways to make things happen. And there's only one right way for you, and only you know which way is right for you. So you just have to trust yourself and know who you are inside of yourself, inside of your very being. You need to know, like, this is what I want, this is who I am. When you have support, it's easier to be yourself because you will naturally feel that sense of support. If you think about it in this way, if you were swimming upstream and always fighting against the current around you, it'd be a lot more tiring and a lot more difficult. However, if your destination allows you to go with the flow of the river will basically carry you there without any resistance or difficulty. And not only minimal resistance, you wouldn't have to put much effort in. The river's moving itself and you will move with it. So if you tie that analogy to being who you are, if you're going against what other people want for you, it's going to be harder. But if you're going with the support of others, it's going to be a lot easier and a lot more simple, because everything that's surrounding you is supporting you as opposed to fighting against you. Being yourself is something that I've always struggled with. I am a middle child, so I tend to just be whoever needs me to, whoever the people around me need me to be. And I usually change myself in different situations or different social settings to be the person that is needed or is wanted most by those people. And it's been tiresome because so much of my energy goes into being somebody I'm not, that I get tired of the relationships I'm in because it's not who I want to be, and it's not what I want for myself. So it makes it difficult to keep going and to keep trying, because what I'm trying for isn't even really what I want. It's what I think somebody else wants. And in 2017, I started a path to being myself and to making choices that are for me and not for somebody else. And I've had a lot of changes in my life because of that. And I'm still going through those changes, and I'm still kind of discovering who I want to be and how I want to be. And every day it's kind of you could say it's like a battle, I guess, because I have my ups and downs. I have thoughts about, oh, this is too hard, or I can't do this. But then I also have times of, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing it. This is the reason that I want to change in my life, and I want to become that person that I know I am deep down inside. But it's not always easy. What makes it easier is having people around you who support you. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's ever supported me, because if it weren't for the situations that I've been in, I wouldn't be who I am today, and I wouldn't have made it to this point in my life. And I always said I don't have regrets, because if I regret something, then that means I don't like who I am. And I want to love myself, so I want to not have those regrets and have to think about my past in a negative way. We've all made choices that we're not proud of, and when you can allow those choices to be lessons and not define you, just to be a part of the path that got you to where you are, it's a lot easier to be yourself, because you can let go of all of that judgment and all of the expectations that other people have for you. So now I'm going to ask you a question. Who would you be if you could literally walk away from the life you're living in and walk right into a new life? And what parts of your old life would you bring with you? Would you bring certain people, certain places, certain objects? And if you'd like to respond to this question, you can check out my Facebook group. It's www.facebook.com/groups/go the distance podcast series. So drop me a line on there, and I will respond to any of the comments or questions or answers to this question that I get at the beginning of the next episode. Or I guess it probably won't be the next episode after this, because I think I'm a bit ahead of myself with episodes. But anyways, in an upcoming episode. So thank you so much for tuning in and for giving me your support. And remember, go the distance, because life doesn't stand still.